The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the EPCHS.com.
Two excellent guests on this episode of the EP Podcast, found anywhere podcasts can be found and always at the EPCHS.com. If you have not subscribed, do so, and check out the YouTube channel because we have special videos of some of these interviews and extras available there as well. This episode brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Their Total Access checking account gives you free ATMs nationwide, a $300 bonus with qualifying activities. There are no overdraft charges either. Paired with their mobile banking tools and award-winning customer service, switching to a true community bank has never been easier. Start banking locally today. Stop in and see them at the corner of 95th and Pulaski in that iconic building that's at the entrance of Evergreen Park if you're coming in from the west. The First National Bank of Evergreen Park, member FDIC. Sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, back again. We mentioned you just the other week when we had the boss in here, when the chief was down here. Edward Dunne is a lieutenant over at the Evergreen Park Fire Department. He's also part of their public education division, and he's got a couple of really awesome fairs going on. You know, Ed, when I think of a fair, I'm thinking a carnival, I'm thinking a Ferris wheel, I'm thinking cotton candy. It's not that kind of fair, though. So what do you have coming up? I know you got one this week on Wednesday that's more for the kids.
Yes, Evan. Well, thank you for the opportunity for being here. Appreciate that. Yes, we do have our annual Children's Fair. It's the 16th annual. It's more towards a health fair. We have organizations coming that have tabletop information for parents about children's health issues. As we said, we got height, weight, body mass, health screenings. We got a surprise. We got it from Chicago Fire Show. We got the lieutenant from the fire engine, David Eisenberg. He's going to show.
Oh, from Chicago Fire.
So Chicago Fire, yes. So we have a special guest coming.
I know they work with you guys from time to time, don't they?
Do.
That's like one of those things where like they need a truck. There's a little bit of an agreement. They help you, you help them. I think it's really kind of cool when you hear about it that, if you watch that show, not only is Chicago Fire Department involved in the show a little bit, but Evergreen Park Fire Department at times will be involved in that show, which is really neat.
We do that. Then we also have the comfort dogs coming. We have the reptiles coming. So we do have some animals there for the kids to enjoy also there. And the University of Illinois, the Ag High School on 111th and Pulaski, they got some things coming in that the kids can do hands-on. So not only get health information, but it's also stuff the kids can, do.
I'm looking at this with the health screening, and I've had that happen as a parent where I've got 3 kids. And one of them just liked eating cookies way too much. Just kept going into the cookie jar all the time. And it was funny because I kept, what do? You tell a little kid, like, you just let them eat whatever they want to. And you sit there and you go, okay, well, I kind of have to stop this. I also don't want to give them like a complex. This fair seems like something where they go in, they get to explore, and they maybe learn a little bit about, what's healthy, what's good for them, and things like that. Because that's a tough thing. Like you don't want to ruin the kid's mind by saying like, "Hey, Tubby, like knock it off." But you also have to teach them how to eat properly. That sounds like what this fair does.
That's what it is, eating properly. When the child comes in, the first going to be greeted by LCM's doctors and nurses. So if they have a doll or a stuffed animal with them, they meet them first, or they meet the nurses and doctors first. If they say there's a little cut or a broken limb, then the doctors and nurses will fix it. Yeah. And then they move on to the rest of the health fair where they'll get this information about body weight and exercising.
I mean, I love that because when I was a kid, I didn't know that stuff. I didn't understand that when I was a kid. You didn't know we ate so many unhealthy things, right? Correct. I mean, now I go to the doctor at 47 years old, and he sat there and he was like, "Hey, everything about you is healthy." And I've talked about this on the show before, but you have a little bit of plaque inside of one of your arteries. And I'm like, "Well, what is that?" He's like, "Well, everybody gets it, but you're about 10 years ahead of it. And it's because of all the ultra processed foods that you've been eating your entire life. Like as a kid, when you didn't realize some of this stuff was bad for you, that's what that is. So just cut back on the ultra processed foods, and eventually you'll be probably healthier than 90% of the people out there just because you stop doing that." Yes. And that's the funny thing. It's not as hard as you think it is to cut that stuff out. And I think teaching kids at a young age, They're going to be healthier for their entire lives if you teach them that. Because the moment I realized that I had to look at the label and say, how many ingredients are in the back of this? And can I find things that don't have a bunch of chemicals? It changes how you buy everything from potato chips to the bread that you buy.
Correct.
Everything you buy just a different type. You get this, it basically is the same cost, and you're just finding the brands that don't have all the garbage inside of it, and it makes such a difference in your health.
Right. Now, a little company will have a dietitian there to talk about food, because we know kids are picky eaters.
Yeah.
So she will give you ideas on how to have them eat healthier foods that the kids will then enjoy.
Yeah, and you find stuff when you start looking for that. It's a great idea. This, again, is this Wednesday, the 22nd of May, 3:30 to 6:30 p.m. I encourage everybody to get over there to 9000 South Kedzie Avenue where the firehouse is and check that out. You list fun activities. What are the fun activities? What do we got there?
Besides the actor that's going to be there, we do have activities like that. We have the animals, the small animals that they'll be able to encourage. Plus, they have the fire engine there. We have kid-sized gear, so we can dress up as a firefighter.
That's awesome.
So we can do that. We
Kids
have that
love
available. Yes, they do. They absolutely love the fires. So we have different things activities they can do besides just getting information.
Do you ever have kids like come by and hang out over at the fire station?
Oh yeah, all the time.
My uncle was CFD. And he would get away with the idea of bringing me to the firehouse. I'll say this now that he's retired. I don't even know if that's allowed. But I was 10 or 11 years old, and they would let me stay overnight in one of the empty beds and go down the pole and jump in the truck with them at 2:00 in the morning. And it was so much fun to go and do that kind of stuff. Yeah. And just going around and looking at all the equipment and things like that has to be kind of neat when the kids get a chance to do that.
And we just had one yesterday where the grandma brought the child in and said it loves fire engines, so we take them on a tour and that. So they get a coloring book, a plastic helmet, and then they get to see all the vehicles, and some of the firefighters that are on do this, so that just makes their day.
Let me tell you something. You're looking for something for your kid to do. There it is right there. Free entertainment in Evergreen Park over at the fire station. All right, now you have, after that, on June 12th, so we got a couple of weeks before this one, also on a Wednesday, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m., we have the 11th Annual Senior Health Fair. So now we go from the kids to the people who are like, okay, I ate all this garbage. Now what do I do?
Yes. Very true. Very true. So I'm not one-dimensional. I don't just study with kids, even though, kids has my passion. I love the seniors too. So like we said, on Wednesday, June 12th, we do have a health fair for them. And we have much, much more organizations available to give seniors the information that they're looking for. Blue Cross Blue Shield will be there with a table full of vegetables that they'd be able to take home with them. We have the Parkettes and a double nickel chorus there for their entertainment. So when we provide a lunch for them, a box lunch, so when they're sitting there, they can enjoy the entertainment. We also, for the first time this year, we have the EP Historical Society, so you get a little information.
They're great folks. I was just at their museum recently, and they have so much in there.
They really do.
It's over at the church that's in between. I don't have the address sitting in front of me, but I'm going to remember it. It's in between Klein Park and 95th on Homan. It's in that senior center there. They have a permanent set up there. It's like every other Saturday. Check the Village newsletter. I know we just did a show recently, so you can look at the EPPodcast.com and get the details. But they have so much in there right now. It's really cool that they have a permanent home.
And we do have, we're going to have golf carts so that seniors don't have to walk from the parking lot to the firehouse. It's a bit of a distance. So we do have golf carts available so that they can ride on those. And also, first time this year, we're going to have dermatologists there. The senior wants to have their moles looked at, their skin looked at, and the dermatologist will be there to advise them what they need to do.
When's the middle-aged guy who's just too lazy to set up an appointment fair? When does that happen? Because I'm Italian. I have moles everywhere. I should really get checked more often.
So here's the opportunity. You can be able to do
but
that.
I can't get in there. Okay, I'm too young for this. This is seniors. That's the
I don't think they're going to turn you down.
Oh, you think I can sneak in?
Oh, absolutely.
There it is.
I'll make sure of that.
I'm just here for the free screening.
I'll make sure of that.
I'm just a young 65. That's what I'll tell them all.
There you go. Yes. So that's going to be new this year. So that we're hoping that'll go over. Again, something that this provide for the senior to make it a healthier lifestyle.
So I think that this is really cool what you're doing with these different fairs, and I see that you're partnered up with OSF, Little Company of Mary, who we have in here from time to time as well. And you don't think of a fire department having to worry about these kind of programs, right? You think of a fire department as their job is wait for the call and go respond, right? Go take care of all the medical emergencies, deal with all of the fires that are out there, handle an accident, get the jaws of life out. That's what you think is their job. It seems to me like you guys are doing something that's extra that you wouldn't get out of a fire department. Why is that?
Correct. There are departments that are like that are strictly do the fire stuff and do the EMS stuff. But when I got there, I've been there 38 years now, I took a different approach. And I was very lucky that the chiefs at the time supported me in the programs that I want to do, whether it be fire safety in the schools, fire safety with the seniors, or health fairs like this, to give the residents of Evergreen Park information how to make their lifestyle that much better.
Yeah. What inspired you to do that? Because I mean, I think about all the people that I know. I mean, I have friends now that are in fire departments around the South Side, either suburban or in the city. One of my other shows, my co-host is a fire lieutenant.
Okay.
Right. And everybody that I talk to, it's almost like they're like, okay, well, you go, you do the job, you got your side job. A lot of them have or something like that.
Yep.
And that's it. And you are more inspired to say, I want to add programs. So
Correct.
where does that come from? Is it the health things? Is that something that's close to your heart for a reason?
Yes, it is. Back in 1992, I was able to go to a camp, a burn camp it's called. The Illinois Fire Safety Alliance sponsors it. And it's children 8 to 16-year-olds that have been burned, whether playing with gasoline, playing with fire, caught in a house fire, whatever the reason is, that they're burned. And I went to this camp. Now I'm freshly out of paramedic school thinking I saw everything. To see these children with burned bodies the way they were and survive and still have to live, their lives, I was like, there's no way I'm going to allow an Evergreen Park child to go through this situation of being burned in Evergreen Park. So that's my driving force, is to make sure that our community is safe and that people get the right information for the good lifestyle.
Yeah, and that's some of the other things that you're doing over there.
Yes.
I'll tell you, it's a real thing. I was just talking about it with Chief Kleinhaus when he was down here. We had a conversation off the air where we just kind of got in there and talked shop, because I spent 10 years doing 911 dispatch.
Okay.
A little bit of fire at the end, okay, because I was with Cook County. But for the majority of it was police dispatch.
Right.
And you go to courses. You meet people that are on the other end of the line. Like my big thing was always domestic violence, because that was the number one thing that I would deal with. And I've noticed it in my life. All of my decisions are always like, yep, that would never be allowed, because that's one of those things that, like, you hear it enough times, you see the viciousness and the bad things that can happen. You experience it on the job, and you just want to do more. And I think that that's like what people don't get sometimes. Like, they're like, oh, that's like a civil service job, right? Like they're a policeman, or they're a fireman, they're a dispatcher, or they're a paramedic, or whatever it is. They just go and do the job and go home. That ain't the case.
No.
We leave and we're still thinking about that stuff, you know? I mean, you have to be a robot not to. Like, you can compartmentalize things. You can sit there and say, okay, this is like, my trick was always adults got themselves into that, right? Like, that may be harsh, but I had to go home every day, right? So generally, if something bad happened to an adult, I was like, well, they made choices. They were an adult. That's the only way that I wouldn't go crazy listening to what I had to listen to. But with kids, and you said it right there, kids, it's hard to do that. So you feel like you have to do something when it comes to kids.
Yeah, when I saw the children burn, the scars and that, they don't go away. They don't heal like a broken bone or a cut.
Yeah.
Those scars are there for their life. And when they show other kids that, they can be very mean, name calling and things like that, then what does that do to the self-esteem of the child that's been burned?
Yeah.
It's not called for. So I want to make sure that children in Evergreen Park were safe enough, have the information of fire safety, so that situation doesn't happen in our community.
It's an important thing to do. And you'll be going over that at the kids' fair too. So it's not just health. It's not just about your BMI and your weight and stuff like that. You'll be covering that stuff.
Yes.
Again, that fair, I'll give you everybody the information one more time. Senior Health Fair is off in the distance, June 12th. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. over at FD, 9000 South Kedzie Avenue. There's entertainment, there's food, there's all kinds of fun activities, and I'm going to be sneaking in to get my moles checked. And then the Children's Health Fair is actually this week, okay? I mean, make time, 3:30 in the afternoon here on Wednesday the 22nd till 6:30 p.m. Stop by the fire department and not only go over weight, but go over some of these important things that Lieutenant Dunne is talking about, and it may make a difference someday. I'm going to tell you right now, you think it's crazy, right? You go, why do I need to worry about that? The amount of times that something bad happened that I dealt with, I came home and had a conversation with my kids. And then later on, you would see them stop before they ran to go get the ball in the street. You would see it because you remember these things because of the things that happened. Take advantage of what the lieutenant's trying to do here. And, you might help your kids out a little bit. Lieutenant Dunne, always a pleasure. Stop by.
Thank you.
More
Thank
often.
you very much for having me.
It's a full service bar here, right? I mean, stop by. Okay?
Yeah.
Bring the
Well,
guys
my
by.
pleasure.
Bring the guys by. It's really a bachelor pad at this point. So bring the guys by. Me and the FD we'll pour a few of them.
We'll hang out.
Okay?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll keep it off mic if you want.
Good. Thank you very much for having me.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. EP Podcast Word on the Street brought to you by SidSauce.net, the only place I get my hot sauce from. The pepper is grown here in Evergreen Park. The sauce is developed, bottled, and delivered to your door if you're in the EP or the immediate surrounding area for free. Staff Sergeant Moonracer, it's a green sauce. I put that on everything. The Mango Ate Your Baby, also one of my favorite ones. Check them all out at SidSauce.net. Evergreen Park High School Alumni Foundation is having their golf outing coming up on Friday, June the 7th. Shotgun start, 2 p.m. scramble format. Registration begins at 12:45 in the afternoon. You're going to get unlimited range use from 1 p.m. until event time. And it's all happening at Coyote Run Golf Course, 800 Kedzie Avenue in Flossmoor. The cost is $150 per golfer, prepaid by May the 31st, or $175 at the door. You get your golf, your cart, your prizes, your bag lunch, your buffet dinner. And local businesses, if you want to sponsor a whole $175, all profits going to the EPCHS Foundation for Educational Excellence. That funds educational opportunities and scholarships for the kids over at the high school. More information, call 708-398-1286. This Monday's Memorial Day. Enjoy the 3-day weekend. They're going to be enjoying it at the Village. The Village Hall will be closed on Memorial Day. The Office of Citizen Services wants you to know that the AARP is offering smart driving classes to all residents 50 and older. It's meant to sharpen your existing driving skills, and it's going to happen June 18th and June 20th from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. You have to pre-register. Classes at the Community Center, 3450 West 97th Street. There'll be an August class as well that's going to be on the 1st and the 8th, and an October class the 3rd and the 10th. If you have any questions, 708-422-8776. And trust me, I'm not worried about the older drivers. They're not driving around looking at their cell phone all day long. We had a great episode on learning how to play pickleball just recently on the EP Podcast. Check that out online, on demand, anywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the EPPodcast.com. Get a group of your pickleball-loving friends, 21 and over, together for a night of fun. John Dwyer, who was on this show, is going to be doing pizza and pickleball Friday, June 7th, 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. at the Maplewell Center, 3450 West Maple. It's $20 a person. You get drink tickets, you get pizza. There's contests, music pumping, and you might be able to jump on the court and play some pickleball too. If you have anything for the EP Podcast Word on the Street, reach out to us by leaving a voicemail or sending a message through the EPPodcast.com. Sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar, I have the principal of Evergreen Park Community High School, Matt Dugan's down here. How are you?
Welcome. I'm happy to be back. I'm doing great.
A year ago, right? I mean, not exactly a year. I think it was over the summer.
Yep.
You came in here
Yep.
and you were getting ready for your first year of this. And, you know, the principal beforehand had been there for a while. And this was like, okay, I'm walking into something really good because it's a really good school that seems to was already on the upswing. And I got the feeling that you were like, I just don't want to screw anything up in the first year. Right?
I would say that would be the goal for a year one principal is don't screw it up. So there's like 5 days left and I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to say we've done a good job this year, but just what a great year. What a great year. And thanks for having me back.
Oh, thanks for coming back. What was your biggest surprise of the year? I mean, it could be something that surprised you that you didn't realize you were going to have to deal with, or could have been some really exciting, pleasant surprise? What would you say surprised you the most this year?
I knew going in what a good school it was. Again, just amazed at the quality of our students and just how great they are, and then our staff supporting them and getting them to their end goal, whatever that may be. Just blown away with the dedication from both students and staff in my first year. Really, really was impressed. And so it was fun. It was a fun year.
That's cool. That's awesome. And I would think that, maybe you expected it, but like, I would think that you've learned a lot of the personalities inside of that building, right? Because we've interviewed them here on this show. You have some very interesting and also very personable teachers that are in different areas of the school that have appeared on this show. And then you have people that just have really good ideas. Like the first one that pops in my mind is Tina Ward, who's running your library over there, and the way that they put together that literary festival this year in conjunction with the Evergreen Park Library. But I walked through that thing just out of curiosity. And I was just amazed at how well they pulled it off for a first-time event. And to have people in there that are kind of like free thinkers and coming up with things and not just going 9 to 5, punching a clock, must be a nice thing.
No, I think that's really it, is the amount of people from all angles of the staff just coming in and saying, like, how can we grow? How can we do better? And that Lit Fest was a hit. And you said it was seamless. The authors were talking about this was probably the best Lit Fest they've been to. And this was the first one we've ever pulled off. And you're hearing compliments from the authors saying this was the easiest one they've ever been a part of. The transitions, the breakout rooms, the big group sessions were just, again, the dedication of Dr. Ward and then the Evergreen Park Library staff to put that together. And it took a long time, a lot of planning. So they're planning one in 25, 26. So they're looking to do one in 2 years now and make this, maybe every 2-year type of event.
What did you think of your senior class? I only ask that because I have a senior that's graduating and is on her way off to college. And it hit me this week while we were getting ready for all the graduation stuff and just going to some of the events at her school that this is the class that lost their 8th grade graduation. This is the class that started high school on a computer. And like nobody else had that experience. And now you get to see what they're like year 4 at the end, ready to go out into the world. And I'm curious if you have, even though you were only their principal here for the last year, what your impression is of that class, because I think that's a very special class. I think they're going to look back on these last 4 years very differently than most people look back on high school. And they're going out into a world probably filled with an awful lot of hope. When they first started at school 4 years ago, it was not that way.
No, and I think this class was a special class for that reason. They left their mark on the school in such a positive way. I would say that a lot of our seniors were driving the school in just such a fast pace as far as like improving, constantly improving the culture and climate, but also just striving for greatness. Simple things such as they wanted to do a senior sunrise where you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and watch the sunrise. Things like that came from our seniors. But at the same time, you have the first ever basketball sectional championship in 51 years, led by a group of seniors, right? You got Nolan Sexton and Billy Buchanan on there with Trey. Just a great group of guys that just drove our school to success in that end. We have records being broken in sports. You have the seniors in the music department making all-state. We had 3 students go all-state in choir and music for, one time in 1 year. That hasn't happened in a long time. So you have this group of students that are just going out there and putting themselves out there in whether it be sports or activities or academics. And just to see their success and to see their drive, it was fascinating. It was something that you really want to champion and support and help them in any way possible. And I was fortunate to be able to do that this year.
When you look at all those accomplishments this year, because I noticed them, I think anybody who was paying any attention to what was going on over at Evergreen Park High School noticed them, right? Your football team played well. Your basketball team did something incredible. It feels like Tim Moran over there, who's your PR guy, your media relations guy, is sending me something every week. This kid won an award. Evergreen Park did this for the first time ever. It was a big year. Does it make you nervous now that you're going to go in the next year and it's like, I got to keep up? Or do you look at this year as great year? It was, sometimes you can't duplicate it year in, year out, but we're going to take this one, we're going to put it on a shelf, we're going to be happy? Or do you feel like a weight of like, all right, now I got to keep this pace up. We just got to keep getting bigger and better?
No, it's exactly that. We definitely want to go bigger and better. And again, you can't replicate athletic success every single year, right? With guaranteeing you're going to improve. But
I expect that from the White Sox.
Well,
they can't be any worse than this.
Well,
I don't mean to interject.
They could.
But like, I get what you're saying about that at the high school level, but I have a higher standard for my professional sports teams. I just want to make sure
they're all going to get injured. They'll be out there. They're going to be 2 and 160 next year. So just don't hold out hope. But no, you want to push them, and you don't want to rest on just like, yeah, this was a great year. But again, just knowing that this junior class has aspirations to reach, and they have goals to set for themselves as a class. And so really that's something we've done internally as a school, is kind of had, we involve our students in a lot of the processes that we have, whether they're meeting with me once a month to go over ways to improve the school. We have students interviewing teachers as part of our interview process. So our students truly have grown and developed the school, and we're going to continue to foster that. And on our end, like, we're putting them in positions, just listening to them and hearing things that they're interested in. We got a firefighter internship that's open next year. We have a professional internship, so basically if you want to go into the business world. And then we're excited. We also have a construction and an architecture drafting internship that we're having for seniors next year. And again, we're just trying to open doors for our students, and have them have any opportunity they want that is out there. And so we're partnering with businesses in EP as well as in the Chicagoland area to make that happen. And we're excited about what that's going to look like for not only next year, but for years to come.
So you're kind of touching already on things that you want to do next year.
Oh, yeah, they're happening.
Is that it? You got any other goals? You got anything you want to share with the community? You got things ruminating that you haven't even put out there yet?
We got some things in the works. Our scores are consistently going up. And I think that's, again, just a testament to not only our students, but our teaching staff. Meg Schiller, our director of curriculum, as well as the rest of the administration team, just working to say, yeah, like, we have kids that want to go into the trades, right? We have a great trades program in our school through woodshop and welding, but we also have 20 AP classes, which, familiar with the South Side, it's more than all the private schools in the area, and something that we're very proud of. But not only that, our students are showing success in those classes, and then you're going into college with college credit. And again, just making sure we have every opportunity to put our students out there. And again, we want to drive our students to be successful in whatever it is. And so some of those internships are really that next component, right? If we have these career pathways and then we have this college pathway, what's the next one? It's starting to help them with networking and getting out there before they're even out of high school, and getting a contact and having real world experience in possibly the career or pathway they want to go into.
I think that means so much. I'm going to tell you, like, I did some college visits with my daughter, and one of the schools she didn't go to was Louisville, but they had offered her like a bunch. They had basically said, we'll give you in-state tuition. She was looking at their engineering program. We went down there. They sat there and explained to us that part of their program over the 4 years, that 3 of the semesters, they don't actually go to class. They work for somebody.
Yeah.
So they walk out not only with a paid salary, so they were able to earn some money while they were there to continue paying for their education, but they get that year's experience. And experience seems to be everything. And yes, you're preparing a lot of these kids to go off to college. You have some kids that are preparing that they want to dive right into something right after they get out of high school. So I think that's really interesting. Is that the new trend in education, is not just teach them something, but give them real world experience so that they're ready when they walk out the door?
I think it's the best thing you should do. And again, going into it, we already had an educational internship class at our school. So the students would go and they would work at Northeast, Southeast, Southwest, Northwest, and they would be in a kindergarten class. They'd help develop lesson plans, and they get to work with kids. And it's a great class. And it currently runs, Mr. Pasek, our golf coach, oversees it. He does a wonderful job. But talking with those students, some of them identified right away, like, hey, I'm not going to be a teacher. Like, this is something that I recognized right now. This is not for me. So now they're not going off into college and then doing 3 years of educational classes with their rest of their undergrad.
And then realizing they don't want to do it.
And realizing they wasted it, and then having to redo it. And some of them, it was the opposite. Some of them were like, this is 100% exactly what I do. Like, I don't know if I want to do kindergarten, but I want to be a teacher, and this is really my passion. And I thought it was just one of those things that we were brainstorming and saying, like, yeah, I would love for kids to, take a third art class, and some do, because that's what they want to do. But some kids are like, all right, instead of a third art class, what can we do? And it really was this internship and opening up doors for students that really kind of was driven by this educational internship and the success we had with that, and seeing students really succeed and really benefit one way or the other by having that experience. And so that's really really what kind of drove our internship mission and again, it really is for seniors, but it's something that we're going to develop and grow. And as it grows, it's just going to get better and better.
One of the things that I noticed, because I live on 99th, so I get your kids, they walk by my house before and after school. I get kids that walk by my house from Macaulay and Brother Rice. I get the track teams are running by. I mean, there's a lot of high school kids running around in front of my house during the school year at certain times during the year. I get to see them driving up and down the street and going to their classes and all that stuff. And I am struck by the fact that after being here on this street for now 18 years, since I have an 18-year-old and I bought it when she was born, I have had very few and far between. It's been a long time since I have witnessed or heard of any issues with your kids. It's as if they understand that they're in a community when they get let out and they're not running wild and crazy. And I think about when I was a high school kid, we did that. We caused a lot of trouble, right? Like I always expect more trouble. I don't really get it from your kids. Is that something you guys focus on, is explaining to them like, hey, walking in, walking out, remember there's houses here, these people live here? Is that just something that's happening with this generation? Are they a milder generation than mine? I'm trying to figure it out.
I think it's both. I'd like to take some credit for that, right? Not me personally, but just the school as a whole. Like we do a big thing on Mustang pride and what it means to be an Evergreen Park Mustang student. And yeah, I mean, again, when I told you the best part about our school was just, again, the students and their drive and their dedication towards not only our school, but our community. I mean, they're in everything from jobs to park district stuff and then outside of their clubs and sports. So we definitely emphasize that. But I'll go with you on the model generation. I think they're better than both me and you when we were in high school.
We were bad.
I mean, I was probably terrorizing Oak Lawn and Chicago Ridge, but no, the kids are great. We don't have any issues. And again, I think that's something that, I previously worked at schools that were a little bit more hands-on with discipline. And here, nothing, just some high school stuff here and there, but we could all deal with that. We've all been there. But other than that, we don't. The kids are amazing.
That's awesome.
Amazing students.
What are you doing this summer now? What do you do? Because I always had, my sister gets mad at me because she's a teacher at the high school level. She gets mad at me because I'm always like, well, now you're off for 3 months. And she gets annoyed with me when I do that because she's like, no, I got to go do this and I got to go do that. Like, it's not really, you're off for the entire summer. So you're the principal. Yeah. What are you doing this summer?
We're finalizing schedules, finalizing sectioning, all those things that, the spreadsheet, boring work that no one wants to actually look at and actually have to like procrastinate.
Well, I saved the question till the end because I know it'd be boring.
I try to wait until the end to do it too. So we'll do sectioning, scheduling, teacher schedules, and again, finalizing any of our partnerships with things in the community going forward, looking at possibly new curriculum. Those are all the things that are a lot of curriculum planning is done over the summer, working with our teachers, working with our department chairs on things over the summer as well as anything that may come up. But welcoming new families in, obviously they move in, so they're going to complete the registration process during the summer because they haven't moved into Evergreen Park yet. So stuff like that happens all the time, and that's really what it's kind of fun because you have a big project that you have to work on over the course of a couple of weeks, and you got the stuff that'll come up and take you away from it, so you're away from a computer screen. So I kind of enjoy that time. Get a lot of work done over the summer.
Awesome. Matt Dugan here, the principal of Evergreen Park Community High School. Nice enough to stop in with us. Congrats on the end of the first year.
Thank you.
Although I do think that I'm not going to say you have an easy job. You actually have a hard job to keep things the way that they have been going over there and keep the growth and, the high level of everything happening at that high school. But that high school, I tell people all the time when they talk about the difference between public and private school, I go, we have such a great public high school here in Evergreen.
Yep.
And when I describe it to people, I think they're sometimes surprised at how glowing I am of the entire thing. Because every time I'm over there, every time I'm involved with your kids, I'm always impressed.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And if anyone listening, come out, new season, new football field. So new football field, new scoreboard. So if you're coming out, we're just facilities getting better and better. So
awesome. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Thank you.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.